Assalamualaikum and good morning to all. We are second year BNS students from University Tun Hussein on Malaysia campus Pago. We are here today to examine the Bhopal Gas Tragedy of 1984, a night that sent shockwaves throughout the globe and transformed otherwise quiet streets into haunting sounds of sorrow. This presentation aims to fully explain the requirements for the Bhopal Gas Tragedy 1984 assignment, which was assigned by our lecturer Dr. Zurita binti Ekade for the BNS 20303 course on Occupational Safety and Health Management System, OSHMS. However, we also want to learn from the tragedy and use it as a catalyst for the group rather than merely reliving the agony of the past. We are reminded to be watchful stewards of safety and ardent supporters of justice by the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, which continues to be a tragic chapter in our common history. Before we go any further, first let me introduce my group member. My group member consists of 5 people, which the first one is me, Putrana binti Helmi. Second, Nur Fahana Atira. Third is Aina Nur Syahira binti Ahmad Nizam. Fourth is Muhammad Luqman Harith bin Muhammad Zulkifli. And last is Ishwaran, anak lelaki Govinda Sami. Ladies and gentlemen, through this presentation, you will see the content above that will be presented by my group members and myself, such as introduction, causes of the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, consequences and impact, corporate responsibility and ethical consideration, lesson learned and regulatory changes, comparison with other industrial disasters, prevention and preparedness measures, conclusion and reference.
I will explain about how Bhopal tragedy. Before that, I will share about history, how the start of industry. During the 1970s, the Indian government implemented policies encouraging foreign investment in local industry. Union Carbide Corporation (UCC) was requested to construct a plant to produce savin, a commonly used Asian pesticide. The government mandated that a significant portion of the investment come from local shareholders as part of the agreement. The government held a 22% stake in UCC subsidiary, Union Carbide India Limited (UCIL). The plant location in Bhopal was chosen due to its central placement and accessibility to transportation infrastructure. However, the site was designed for light industrial and commercial use, not hazardous industries. Initially, the plant was only approved for the formulation of pesticide in small amount from component chemicals such as MIC, import from the parent company. However, UCIL was pressured by competition in the chemical industry to implement backward integration, which involved manufacturing raw materials and intermediate products to formulate the final product within a single facility. The process was inherently more complex and hazardous. The Bhopal disaster on 3 December 1984 45 tons of the dangerous gas methyl isocyanate escaped from an insecticide plant that was owned by the Indian subsidiary of the American from Union Carbide Corporation. The gas drifted over the densely populated neighborhoods around the plant, killing thousands of people immediately and creating a panic as tens of thousands of others attempt to flee Bhopal. The final death toll was estimated to be between 15,000 and 20,000. Some 500,000 survivors suffered respiratory problems, eye irritation and blindness, and other maladies resulting from exposure to the toxic gas. Many were awarded compensation of a few $100s. Investigation later established that substandard operating and safety procedure at the understaffed plant had led to the disaster. In 1998, the former factory site was turned over the state of Madhya Pradesh. Lastly, the Indian government not properly cleaned up the site that can affect Indian people. The significance or importance of this incident: number 1, the tragedy emphasized the need for strict safety protocols and environmental regulations in industrial operation. This lead to a worldwide review of chemical plant safety standards. Number 2, the incident has far-reaching implications for environmental protection, corporate responsibility, public health, and legal regulation. Number 3, the incident led to discussion on the need for international standards to hold corporations accountable and for affected communities to seek justice and restitution. Number 4, the responsibility of government and corporation is to provide healthcare and rehabilitation for victims of such incidents. Number 5, lastly, this shift in regulatory focus led to developing international conversation and agreement to minimize the risk associated with chemical manufacturing and storage. Causes of the Bhopal Gas Tragedy means its factors of about technical, regulatory, and operational failures. And number 1 is technical issue. The main cause disaster was isocyanuric acid from Union Carbide in the limited UCIL pesticide factory. It was a release of methyl, MIC gas. Storing and handling large quantities of MIC was hazardous, and facility safety systems were not adequately designed to prevent large release to toxic gas. Second, safety and maintenance failure. After numerous reports and investigations have revealed a pattern of inadequate maintenance, inadequate safety measures, and equipment failures at UCIL facility. This included issues with the key safety equipment and lack of proper maintenance of critical components, resulting in an increased risk of gas leaks. Number 3, human error and management error. It means the facility poor management practice and human error also contribute to the disaster. Inadequate staff training, inadequate operational procedure, and a lack of effective communication regarding safety concerns increase the likelihood of a catastrophe. Number 4 is community exposure. The UCIL facility location close to a densely populated residential area increased exposure to the nearby community from the effects of a potential gas leak. This increased the risk of harm to the public in a serious industrial accidents. The combination of these factors led to a tragic chain of events on that fateful night in Bhopal that resulted in the release of toxic gas, resulting in numerous deaths and long-term health effects on the surrounding population. Number 5 is enforcement and supervision. It means weak enforcement and supervision also played an important role in this tragedy. There was evidence that the factory's safety protocols and emergency preparedness did not meet legal standards, and inspection by authorities failed to identify and correct potential hazard and deficiency in the factory operations. Number 6 is construction defects and safety measures. The design of the facility, existing safety measures were found to be inadequate. The facility was not equipped with an adequate scrubber system to neutralize toxic gas in case of leak. Additionally, the cooling units that keep the MIC cool were not functioning properly, and many safety systems were poorly maintained or inoperable. Number 7 is lack of emergency planning. The response to the gas leak was inadequate as the local government was unprepared to deal with a disaster of this scale. Emergency preparedness was lacking, including inadequate training of health workers and inadequate emergency response system. Number 8 is poor community awareness. This means surrounding communities were poorly informed about the potential dangers of living near chemical plants. there was no comprehensive plan to educate or prepare to the population for emergencies. The Bhopal gas disaster is stark reminder of the devastating consequence of industrial negligence and the importance of strict safety regulation, effective oversight, and emergency preparedness to prevent such disasters in the future. Number 9 is corporate negligence. It means UCIL, American Parent Company, Union Carbide Corporation, was criticized for failing to ensure the implementation of required safety standards at its Bhopal plant. There were allegations of cost-cutting measures that compromised safety, a lack of transparency in sharing critical safety information, and delays in providing medical assistance and information to the affected communities. Number 10 is operational errors. It means the operating practice at the factory were lax and potentially dangerous. Several safety procedures were reportedly routinely ignored, including failure to follow proper emergency procedures, inadequate training of staff, and insufficient oversight of plant operations.
Consequences and effect. Immediate consequences. First, human health. 3,800 people died and 1,000 more experienced long-term health issues after the leak. The leak led to respiratory failure, organ damage, eye irritation, lung disease, birth defect, and cancer. The issue impacted not only the immediate victim but also their descendants. Second, environment. The toxic gas contaminated soil and water sources, poisoning flora and fauna and disrupting the ecosystem. Long-term studies point to a decline in biodiversity and ongoing soil pollution. Lastly, effective community. Panic and chaos gripped Bhopal as thousands fled in the night. Families were torn apart, livelihoods shattered, and a pervasive sense of fear and insecurity in the community. Long-term consequences of the Bhopal tragedy. First, health. The tragedy left behind a legacy of chronic health issues among survivors. Respiratory problems, including asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, remain prevalent. Birth defect, neurological disorders, and increased cancer rate continue to afflict the population. Second is environment. Contaminated groundwater poses a persistent threat, and the ecological damage lingers. The surrounding communities depend on polluted water sources, further jeopardizing their health and well-being. Lastly, social and economy. The disaster crippled Bhopal economy, impacting industry dependent on clean water and tourism. Lack of adequate healthcare and compensation has burdened families financially and emotionally. Social stigma and discrimination surrounding the tragedy add to the survivors' challenges. Legal, social, and economic implications. First, legal. The legal battle for justice has been long. While Union Carbide initially settled for 470 million in compensation, it was deemed inadequate by many. The conviction of 8 Indian officials in 2010 offered some semblance of justice, but the overall compensation remains minuscule compared to the lasting damage. The second is social. The tragedy raises significant concerns about corporate accountability, safety standards in developing countries, and the vulnerable of marginalized communities. The aftermath exposed systemic inequalities and the need the need for improvement in environmental regulation, and community preparedness. Lastly, economy. The long-term economic impact of the Bhopal disaster is immense. Healthcare costs burden family and the government. Contaminated water hinders agricultural productivity and industrial development. The tragedy highlighted the company cost of environmental disaster and the need for sustainable practices. Corporate responsibility and ethical consideration. Before tragedy, first, cost-cutting measures. Union Carbide prioritized profit over safety, implementing cost-cutting measures, the compromised plant maintenance and safety protocol. This included insufficient safety equipment, outdated technology, and inadequate training for workers. Second, ignoring safety warnings. Internal report and employee concerns highlighting safety hazards were disregarded. Union Carbide failed to address these concerns adequately, leading to a build-up of dangerous conditions. And lastly, lack of community engagement. Open communication with the surrounding community about potential risks and emergency procedure was minimal. This lack of community engagement left residents unprepared for disaster. After the tragedy, first, delayed response. Union Carbide initial response was characterized by delays and obfuscations. The company downplayed the severity of the leak and prioritized protecting its own interests over providing immediate assistance to victims. Second, indicate compensation. The 470 million settlement reached with the Indian government was seen by many as a major attempt to compensate for the immense damage caused. The long legal battle highlighted the difficulties in holding corporations accountable for such disasters. Lastly, limited environmental cleaning up. Despite the long-term environmental damage Union Carbide affect the clean-up, the contaminated site were deep indicate. This ongoing pollution continues to threaten the health and well-being of the community. Practical consideration. First, corporate responsibility. Corporation have a clear ethical obligation to prioritize the safety of their employees, communities, and the environment. This includes implementing robust safety protocol over to regulations and addressing potential risks proactively. Second, community engagement. Open communication and engagement with communities in which corporations operate is essential for building trust and ensuring preparedness for potential accidents. Second, transparency and accountability. Corporations must be transparent in their operation and held accountable for lack of care and failure to uphold ethical standards. This requires strong regulatory framework and effective mechanism for seeking compensation in case of disaster.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Lukman Arifin Mawazikri. I would like to present about lesson learned and regulation change. Lesson learned from Bhopal tragedy and how they have influenced industrial safety practice globally. For the first, emergency preparedness. The Bhopal gas disaster highlighted how important it is to have effective emergency response and preparation plans. This entails putting in place efficient route for communication, evacuation protocol, and rapid medical attention. As a result, the creation of international standard for emergency response in industrial setting has been greatly impacted by this tragic incident. Comprehensive drill, effective communication technique, and community involvement in emergency planning are given top priority in this standard. The Bhopal Gas Tragedy has taught us valuable lessons that have fueled global initiative to improve response and readiness system in an attempt to avoid similar tragedies and lessen their effect on the environment and human well-being. For the second is chemical process safety. The incident was a clearly reminder of the necessity of strict chemical process safety regulation. This covered the essential element of careful planning, careful upkeep, and ongoing observation of chemical process to lead and mishaps. As a result of this international safety standards have changed dramatically. This day, the integration of safety instrumented system, extensive process hazard analysis, and comprehensive risk assessment are given top priority. Together, these actions seek to reduce the likelihood of catastrophic occurrence, demonstrating a proactive dedication to rising international safety standards international. For the third, corporate accountability. The tragedy brought to the forefront the dire repercussions of insufficient corporate accountability and responsibility. It underscores the imperative for companies to prioritize the safety and well-being of not only their employees but also the surrounding communities. In response to this lesson, there has been a significant transformation in corporate governance structures globally. This change includes the implementation of stringent compliance frameworks, a heightened emphasis on ethical business practice, and increased scrutiny to prevent negligence and misconduct. The influence of this tragic event has catalyzed a broader commitment within the business world to uphold the highest standard of responsibility, ensuring that corporate action align with the well-being of both employees and the communities in which they operate. And fourth is community engagement. The incident proved how poor communication with the impact community contribute to the tragedy's increased severity, underscoring the vital significance of open and continuous involvement. Industry practice have changed as a result of this lesson to more actively involve local communities. This includes defining emergency protocol, conducting frequent outreach initiative, and giving prompts information on possible hazard. In addition to providing important information, the objective is to foster cooperation and mutual trust between the communities they affect and the industry that serve them. The more towards transparent communication is indicative of a dedication to anti-security risk assessment, empowering the community and creating a cooperative strategy to guarantee the security and welfare of all concerned parties. And the last one is regulation oversight. The incident acted as a trigger exposing weakness in the enforcement and supervision of regulation. This information led to a worldwide review of industry safety regulation. Global regulatory bodies have responded to this lesson by taking decisive action to improve industry safety protocol. This entails enforcing stricter compliance requirements, falsifying inspection protocol, and raising the penalties for non-compliance through the implementation of strong and efficient regulation framework for risk prevention and mitigation. This coordinated effort seek to raise the bar of overall safety standard in industrial operation. Because of the incident, people are now more committed than ever to enforcing strict regulation worldwide in order to create a safe environment. We jump to in compliance of OSH management system key element, risk assessment. First, risk assessment. The Bhopal case found a serious non-compliance issue, demonstrating insufficient risk assessment that did not adequately account for potential hazards, and their effective global operation safety and health management system have experienced a radical change as a result of this discovery. They best practice exercise through risk assessment that include careful identification of potential hazard, a careful assessment of related risks, and the creation of effective mitigation strategy. This development underscores the need of strong risk management in preserving the welfare of employees and communities worldwide, and shows a proactive approach to averting tragedies such as Bhopal tragedy. For the second, training and competence. The Bhopal tragedy exposed a serious non-compliance. The client's employees' lack of competency and training, which played a major role in the catastrophe. This emphasizes how crucial it is to have knowledgeable and competent employees in industrial setting. International occupational safety and health standards have been significantly improved as a result of this reaction. This standard now gives staff members ongoing training a higher priority. By completing this training, employees are guaranteed to have the abilities and know-how needed to handle hazardous material, operate machinery safely, and effectively handle emergencies. The OSH standard development show a dedication to averting mischief by emphasizing workers' skill and knowledge in managing intricate industrial operations. The last, communication and information sharing. During the Bhopal incident, inadequate communication with the local community proved to be a critical failure, highlighting a significant non-compliance issue. This leaves in judgment increased the incident impact and highlighted the need for better communication procedure. The result has been a paradigm shift in occupational safety and health management system around the globe. It is now more important to make sure that organizations and external stakeholders, especially local communities, are communicating effectively, sharing information about possible risks in a transparent manner to become essential to averting incidents and lessening their effect. The OSH standard have evolved to show a dedication to encouraging direct dialogue, community involvement, and preventative action to improve overall safety in industrial operations. For regulatory change and corporate responsibility development. For the first, environmental regulation. The Bhopal Gas Tragedy served as a catalyst for change, prompting the establishment and strengthening of environmental regulation on a global scale. This regulation now especially focus on preventing chemical release and minimizing environmental impact. As a result, industry have undergone a significant transformation in their practice. Adherence to stringent environmental standards has become a priority, accompanied by the regular conduct of environmental impact assessment. Furthermore, industries are actively implementing measures to minimize their carbon footprint and reduce chemical emissions. This shift reflects a broader commitment to environmental stewardship and sustainability, acknowledging the lesson learned from the Bhopal tragedy and striving to prevent similar incidents while promoting responsible industry practice worldwide. For the second is corporate liability and compensation. Regulation to hold corporations responsible for industrial disaster were revised as a result of the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, which prompted a change in the legal framework. This change highlighted how crucial it is to give impact people and community just compensation. Consequently, businesses are now bound by law requiring them to maintain sufficient insurance and set up compensation fund. Serious fines are applied in case of carelessness, guaranteeing that business are held accountable for their deeds. This all-encompassing strategy seeks to ensure prompt and equitable compensation for individual practice are workplace mischief. Cultivate a sense of responsibility among corporations and encourage increased accountability in averting and handling the fallout from such events. And the last one is international safety standard. The incident triggered the creation and revision of international safety standards, which significantly altered the field of industry safety. The goal of this project was to create a standard framework for industrial safety best practice. Because of this, organizations all over the world now follow uniform safety procedure. International organizations in change of setting safety standards regularly revise regulations to take into account new development in technology and industry process. This continuous dedication to improving safety standards is a reflection of an international endeavor to draw lessons from previous missions, proactively improve safety precautions, and establish a unified strategy for industry safety that can adjust to new challenges in the contemporary industry environment. That's all for me. Assalamualaikum.
Hi everyone, in this slide I'm going to explain regarding the comparison with other industrial disasters. The first one is the Bhopal Gas Tragedy, which caused by the release of a toxic gas from the MIC tank, and the event took place on December 1984. The prevention method is to improve safety measures and adequate training. This tragedy happened because of the open of the safety valve due to the lack of proper regulation and maintenance. Next, we will move on to the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, which took place on April 1986. It happens because of the reactor explosion and release of the radioactive materials. The prevention method is improve the safety procedures and regulation for routine maintenance and inspection. This happens because of the flawed design and inadequate training for the employee. The final one will look into the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, which took place on April 2010. This happens because of the oil spill due to drilling and rig explosion. The prevention method is emphasizes the need of better and strict safety measures. In this case, the case was parallel with Bhopal, both involved complex technological systems. So the common similarities between all these cases are it's give environmental damage and long-term health consequences to everyone. In this part, we will look for regarding the common systematic concerns. The first one, though, when organizations and authorities fail to be transparent about potential risk or shortcomings, and when there is a lack of accountability for action or negligence, it creates an environment where problems can escalate without timely intervention. Other than that, the second point, concealment delays the implementation of necessary measures and prevent timely response, allowing the situation to worsen. This can result in increased damage, both in terms of immediate consequences or on a long-term impacts. As a final one, transparent communications ensures that relevant information reaches all stakeholders promptly. This includes workers, local community, regulatory bodies, fostering an environment where potential risks can identify and addressed collaboratively. Hi and hello everyone, I'm Ishwan, son of Govindasamy. Today I'm going to share regarding the preventive measures that could have been averted the Bhopal gas tragedy. The tragedy was compounded by a compromised storage tank that contained MIC. Neglecting routine safety checks and ignoring establishment safety regulation contributed to a series of events that could have been prevented. This emphasized the critical need for strengthened safety protocols, routine inspection, and promote correction of identified defects and industrial facilities. Moreover, considering the impact of an advanced leak detection system in Bhopal capable of identifying dangerous chemicals like MIC at early stages, automatically shut-off technology could have been invented immediately action to limit the leakage. Other than that, the disaster highlighted the consequences of lacking a well-prepared emergency response plan, an effective strategy including step-by-step guidance for responding to a gas leak, efficiently evacuation protocols, and comprehensive staff training could have significantly reduced the disaster's impact. Union Carbide is lack of attention to the safety regulation and negligence in safety audits significantly contributed to the disaster. Strict legal reformations transparent communication about potential dangers, and fostering a culture of responsibility within organization are crucial for maintaining a safe work environment. The lack of community awareness during the Bhopal Gas Tragedy had disastrous consequences. Educational campaign and transparent communication could have empowered residents with knowledge on chemical dangers, emergency protocols, and evacuation procedures. To conclude, the lessons from Bhopal are clear. Safety measures, advanced technology, emergency response plan, cooperative responsibility, and community awareness are interconnected pillars, collective ensuring the safety of both workers and community. Thank you. Next, we will move on to the importance of emergency preparedness and response in the context of industrial accidents. In the facts of industrial catastrophe, the foremost common is human safety. A robust emergency response strategy is essential for reducing casualties through rapid evacuation and early medical interventions. Beyond human safety, industrial accidents pose threats to the environment, demanding a well-planned response to contain dangerous substances and mitigate long-term environmental impacts. Emergency preparedness goes beyond saving lives. It safeguards property and assets. A detailed plan ensures switch actions to prevent or minimize damage to the infrastructures, equipments, and crucial resources, reducing financial losses for both corporations and communities. Operational continuity is vital for industrial growth, and effective disaster preparedness allows for quick response, minimizing downtime, economic losses, and potential job cuts. Moreover, an efficient emergency response plan reflects a company's commitment to the safety of its employees, the community, and the environment, fostering trust among stakeholders such as employees, local communities, regulatory agencies, and investors. In conclusion, disaster preparedness, or known as emergency preparedness and response, are integral components of industrial safety, showcasing a proactive approach that prioritizes human safety, environmental protection, asset safeguarding, operational continuity, and the cultivation of stakeholders' confidence. Thank you.
In conclusion, the Bhopal Gas Tragedy of 1984 stands as a haunting testament to the devastating consequences that can unfold when industrial operations neglect safety, regulatory oversight falters, and corporate responsibility waver. The release of methyl isocyanate MIC from the Union Carbide Corporation's pesticide plant unleashed immediate chaos, claiming thousands of lives and leaving a lasting impact on the health and well-being of survivors. This tragedy unraveled a complex tapestry of causes, from inadequate safety systems and compromised facility design to lax regulatory enforcement. Persistence of industrial waste on the site, coupled with ongoing environmental contamination and health issues among the local populations, underscores the far-reaching consequences of the disasters. The role played by Union Carbide Corporation as the parent company, shaping decisions related to the safety protocols, budgetary allocations, and subsequent legal and financial response significantly influenced the course of events and their aftermath. The Bhopal Gas Tragedy serves as a stark reminder of the need of stringent safety measures, robust regulatory oversight, and unwavering corporate responsibility. In moving forward, it is imperative to draw lessons from Bhopal, fostering a collective commitment to prioritize human safety, environmental protection, and ethical business practices. The tragedy compels us to reevaluate industrial norms, enhance regulatory frameworks, and instill a culture of accountability to prevent such catastrophic events and ensure a more secure and responsible industrial landscape for future generations. The Bhopal Gas Tragedy has had a lasting impact on how companies are held accountable and how safety is prioritized in industries. This tragic event led to a wake-up call for the public, media, lawmakers, governments, and non-governmental organizations prompting them to demand safer practices. Businesses recognized that the importance of prioritizing safety and took significant steps, such as reducing store materials, implementing extensive training, and adopting programs like responsible care to involve communities. Governments responded by passing and enforcing stricter laws, conducting thorough accident investigations, and imposing hefty fines on those found responsible. Universities incorporate safety lessons into their courses, fostering awareness and responsibility among future professionals. Additionally, the tragedy spurred the creation of organizations dedicated to research and collaboration in process safety globally. Projects like green chemistry and inherently safer design reflect a shift toward more ethical and sustainable industrial practices. Ongoing conference and research projects worldwide highlight the continued commitment to improving industrial safety. While the Bhopal gas tragedy remains a sad part of history, it has undoubtedly played a crucial role in preventing injuries, saving lives, and emphasizing the vital link between environmental protection, human rights, and corporate responsibility in the industrial landscape.